Bolton, yes.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Yes. Castle, yes.
Yes, sir.
Amakin, yes. Finn,
Yes.
yes. Can't see you, Angela.
No.
Martin, yes. Lucy, see you. Morgan, hello, Kim. This must be the longest distance council meeting we've had, I think, isn't it?
Welcome. Glad to be here.
Well, very welcome. Smith, see you, Stephen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Liz, no, yet, not yet. I think that's it. That's everybody, isn't it? So Bethy is not here either. Okay. Minutes of the meeting of the 3rd of June, which you should have before you. Can we just check those for accuracy, please? Short meeting, page 1. And page 2. Is it your wish I sign those as a true record? Everybody need to vote on that, Sally? Or
if we could just do a show of hands,
show of
Mike,
hands.
please.
No one's disagreeing, are they? Thank you. I'll sign those in due course then. Item 4 then, declaration of interest and request for dispensations. Anybody? Okay. Question. Item 5 then, public question time. Received any, Sally?
We haven't, no.
Thank you. Item 6 then, reports from outside bodies. We've got Thames Valley Police on the agenda, but have we had a report?
We've had apologies from Thames Valley Police, but they sent me an email today to say that in Farringdon in the last 28 days, they have had the following crimes: 2 assaults, 1 theft from a motor vehicle and 2 drug offences.
Okay, so we can note that. Hello, Liz. Item 7 then, County Council's report.
Mike, can I just say you've missed item 6, clerk's report and schedule of payments.
On the agenda?
Is it on there? Gosh.
No, on my agenda, I've going from 5 question
No,
time.
that's further down.
Oh, sorry, big apologies, I've got it wrong, sorry.
Okay, had me worried there, Joe.
Sorry.
Item 7 then. County Council's report. Councillor Heathcote.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Before I start on the report, I did at the end of the report put a thank you for what everybody has done. Can I say another thank you to you all, because I know there's still pressure on local communities. I'm doing a lot of work and I know you all are, and I want to say a special thank you to the staff at Farringdon Town Council, who I know have also been working terribly hard, so thank you all. I think that the important thing is that we've all served our communities in different ways, and that's the important thing. With my report, I just wanted to pick out a couple of things that I think will be of interest. First of all, drowning. I put that on the 2nd page of my report. Drowning and antisocial behaviour. When the weather was warm. I'm sorry? I heard someone speak. In the hot weather, the fire service delivered a warning to everybody about river swimming and the dangers. However warm you may feel at the side of a river, when you get into the water, if it's cold underneath, it'll lower your body temperature, which can stop you breathing. So please don't swim in the rivers. Also, there is pollution in the rivers. People do throw glass in, and I know that there was a report in Oxford of 2 children getting very badly cut feet by going into the river. So please don't swim in local rivers. And also, if you go to a beauty spot, can you not do what some people were doing at Buscott with antisocial behaviour, with drugs and drink? It's just not fair on the local community. So if you know any young people who might just be minded to perhaps behave in the way that is not acceptable, can you perhaps try and guide them if it's at all possible? Then the other thing we've noticed, again for the fire service, they've been attending some very, very serious road accidents. Because the roads have been freer of traffic, people have been speeding, and they've been speeding where the weather conditions have not, it's not sensible to speed. So there's been some people dying because of them driving not according to the weather conditions. So please bear that in mind. And then my last bit, where we had a fatality for the fire service, somebody lit a bonfire on a day when there was a breeze, and they lit the bonfire near the hedge in their garden. The hedge caught fire. It travelled down the hedge to a thatched cottage. The cottage is completely decimated. It can't be lived in, and there was someone who died. So that's another safety message, please. It may be a lovely day, but if you're going to light a bonfire, please be careful where you place it. My last safety message, I guess, is about the sewage pipe on the A417 Park Road. Now, I was alerted to this immediately, and I went down to the site. And I was told that it was a burst. On investigation by Thames Water, it was not a burst, but what it was regurgitation of raw sewage and other items that had been put down by residents down the loop. And I sent a lot of information down to Sally about how to use a toilet. People had been putting kitchen rolls down. They had been putting nappies down, despite the fact that nappies say they're disposable, they are not flushable down a toilet. And I put a list of all the things that you shouldn't do in the memo I sent to Sally, and I hope she circulated it to you. And I think the last thing I want to mention, because I know people are getting very anxious, is about the registration offices and our libraries. The registration offices are opening gradually. And the county hall, the whole of the ground floor at County Hall has been converted into a registry office to take the fact that there have been births during COVID and deaths, so that they can all be recorded. But of course, there's a limited amount of people that can go into the building. So it's a very slow business, but it's keeping everybody safe. But it does mean the ground floor of County Hall can't be used by or officers outside of registration or members. And the libraries, they are opening, but they're opening gradually. And I would guess you'd understand this. It is the larger branches that can open first, because the larger branches are the ones where we can keep social distancing. The libraries have to be completely cleansed before they can be open to the public. And books, when they are returned, will have to stay on a shelf for 2 weeks to ensure that the books are clean. When I've got news for you on Farringdon Library, I'll let you know immediately, but visits will be limited to 30 minutes. So again, that will mean that in maybe the bigger libraries, rather than our own little library in Farringdon, there could be quite a queue waiting outside. And I think that is all that I want to bring up, Chairman.
Thank you, Judith. Any comments, please, for Councillor Heathcote? Stephen, are you asking a question? No,
mate. No, I'm not.
It's all right. You've got a thing up saying, look, you're on another call. Maybe that's the working of Teams. It's gone now. Thank you. Any points, please? Well, thank you very much, Judith. And I'm very sorry to hear about Councillor Hudspeth. And please convey our best wishes for a speedy recovery.
Thank you very much. He has said that I did a press release yesterday because I had to chair County Council, and I'm taking over his meetings as well as my own. Hence, my desk is littered with agendas. But he has diverticulitis, and he is a sufferer that it always has very, very bad attacks. So he's hospitalised and will be there at least for a week. So I'll take your best wishes to him. Thank you very much.
My sympathies. I know what it's like. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I say goodbye so that I can go and read some paperwork?
Thanks very much for.
Have a good meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Item 8 then, District Council's report. Have we had anything, Sally? Is Sally getting difficulties in?
Yes, it's in the folder, Mike. Can you hear me? It's in the folder.
Has it come later then? I didn't get it with the first lot. Right.
I
No,
couldn't access the folder, and I've just tried to go in again, and it says this folder no longer exists.
Oh. I haven't seen it, so
definitely does. I'll let me share it again with you all. Okay, that says that it's shared with you all, so you should be able to access it from the link on the email I originally sent to you.
right. Hang on a second. Let's have a look.
That link doesn't seem to work.
Mike, I read the report this afternoon, I think. I'm sure I did, unless I'm having things. And yeah, it was fairly informative, but nothing to get excited about.
Yeah, I think the problem is I download the first folder and copy it, then I don't look again. So
yeah, Chair, I've read it too. The only thing that I was just going to raise is about what they state in there about the government's looking at reorganising once again of local councils and maybe moving to a unitary authority. And obviously, if any of our district councillor colleagues were around, I was just going to ask for more information on that because I think they did try that. Was it a couple of years ago now when they were looking at trying to merge councils? So
yeah. I don't. It's all gone very quiet. Sorry, Sally. I can't find it because
there was some papers in the folder that I couldn't access either. It wouldn't let me open them.
I mean, I think this is about the unitary authority, isn't it? So it's all gone very quiet. I don't know what's going to happen in regards to that. I think
it's just that they've raised it again in the district report that they're looking at it again following COVID.
I think they're waiting for a government decision on this, weren't they? It all went quiet. It's supposed to have been looked at last year, which is the various suggestions of making Oxfordshire a unitary authority. Watch this space. So I'm sorry, I've not seen that. Anything else on that? Okay, so we move on then to Chairman's activity report. I think Sally's just sent the whole cumulative report for the whole year. There are only new ones that I never did report on, and that was for the 14th and 15th of March, which were 2 dinners. It was interesting. The 15th of March, only about 2/3 of the people turned up, and I thought then the writing was on the wall as regards to lockdown. But the only since it was the for BE Day when I laid a wreath at the War Memorial and spoke the usual poems for the fallen and the Kohima epitaph. And there were about 20 people there turned up anyway, and everybody was very well behaved. And we observed 2 minutes silence, and I put the wreath on. So, and I think people were glad that there was some activity. So, the British Legion had already laid a wreath, and the 2 wreaths are still there on the War Memorial. Any questions on the activity report? Okay, then. Item 10, which is reports from committees, and we've got the minutes of the Facilities Committee for the 10th of June, which was chaired by Councillor Bentley. So have you any questions on the Facilities minutes or the meeting? No. Okay, thank you very much. Move on then to item 11, Clerk's report and schedule of payments.
The total figure now is 44,368.77. It should be noted it includes 2 lots of wages because we don't meet in August to approve them.
Okay. Any questions on that, please? So we need to vote to accept the report and make the payments. So we do need to vote on that one, I presume. Sally, are we going to do it by poll or Polly? Or are we going to do it by...
We also need a
Yeah.
proposer and a seconder, and if
Are we going to
do it by hand, I think people will find that easier.
Yeah, are we going to do it by show of hands, or I propose it?
I'll second.
Any just show of hands, or yeah, we've got enough. Thank you, everybody. I think that's carried. Anything else on schedule of payments, Sally?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Right. Item 12 then, Farringdon United Charities. That's to elect a member to serve as a charity trustee following the resignation of Councillor Farmer. I think the other trustee is Councillor Bentley.
Yes, it is. I would like to nominate Stephen Smith.
Excellent. Any other nominations? Can I second Stephen then? And are we all in favour? Thank you.
Welcome aboard, Stephen.
Stephen's duly elected as the member to serve as a charity trustee for Farringdon United Charities.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Item 13 then, conversion of offices and the corn exchange for the place relocation. To receive an update. Sally.
The rooms were finished today and I did the snagging today. They look amazing and I can't wait for you all to see them. The work has gone very smoothly. There are some things that we've taken in-house to do, like get the dishwasher and the washing machine installed. It's gone very smoothly. You just need to get the brand and we're ready to welcome the place into our room.
Thank you. I got a sneak preview yesterday. I was walking past and the door was open and Vinny invited me inside. It looks really nice. It's well worth a visit. It looks absolutely superb. They've done a wonderful job and they've finished a week early, haven't they? So it looks magnificent. So I'm just waiting that we can actually get the children's centre up and running again and using it. So well done.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that, Sally. It's been a wonderful bit of work. Item 14 then,
Thank you.
Coronavirus impact. And we've got the first item is to consider the reopening of play parks. Sally sent a memo around. I don't know how many responses you had to that, Sally.
I think most everybody responded, so agreed to open them. I think we had an objection to opening up.
I've lost you. I think you said most people were in favour. I think there were some caveats on there, weren't there, about possible vandalism and also health and safety with respect to hand cleansing and not getting too many people on there trying to monitor it, which is extremely difficult. But I think that was the government's edict, wasn't it, that play parks should be open. So I think the best thing then, if we have to try it and see how it works. Is that our wish, Sally?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But we need a formal resolution, Mike, to agree to open them.
So can I propose that we reopen play parks with a view to monitoring it carefully to see what progress is like. So I propose that we open play parks with that caveat.
I'll second that, Mike.
Thank you, Peter. All those in favour, please. Now, on this one, is anybody against reopening play parks? And Rosalind, you were very critical. Rosalind?
Yes, I feel that it's not something that we can monitor. I don't know if you saw the film today. Can you hear me?
Yep.
There was a girl who went into the play parks and got stuck in the baby swing and had to get taken out by the fire brigade, which went on to social media. I don't think that we can make that a safe place, so I don't feel happy about it opening. I can see the reasons why people would want it open, but I don't think it's safe in the current circumstances. So I won't vote in favour of it, I'm afraid.
Right, you're objecting, thank you. Is anybody else objecting? So I think the overall majority then is to try, that's on a trial basis, to reopen play parks and see how it goes, yes? Okay, thank you. And next is to consider reopening of venues. What's the response on that, Sally? I think the thing with the, Steve made some good comments about the information centre and the problems of handling items and safety for the staff.
Yeah, so the information centre has opened on the 9th of July. We've put some very strict guidelines in place and they're all being adhered to at the moment. We're not handling cash and we ask anyone who comes in to wear a mask. That's all going very well at the moment. So I feel quite comfortable about the information centre being open. People ring the bell, so we don't just have people walking in, they have to ring the bell to get assistance. But that seems to be working really well at the moment. Obviously I review it every day and I watch the guidance every day, and I know face masks aren't compulsory until the 24th of July, but we've already implemented that and the staff will wear face masks when there's anyone in the building. So I feel very comfortable with the information centre. And we've had a big screen put up, so and we have 2 members of staff on, and we're just opening mornings only at the moment.
What about other venues?
So the Corn Exchange. So I did put a little summary. Most of our regular hires don't operate through August anyway. The Corn Exchange is big enough for us to put a one-way system in place. So my recommendation for the Corn Exchange is to prepare for opening for hire on the 15th of September. So that will give us plenty of time to put floor markers down and get the building ready to be opened and put some guidelines in place for use of the toilets, etc. As you know, that it has been open throughout the pandemic for the blood donors.
Yeah. Have the country market expressed any interest in opening on a Friday morning?
No, they're not ready to come back yet.
Right.
We've only had 2 people who've requested to come back before then, and one is martial arts, and we aren't comfortable because that's obviously indoor exercise anyway, so that's quite a difficult one. And the other one is a couple who hire it for dance lessons, which will be absolutely fine once we've got our markers in place and all the guidance ready.
Okay, thank you.
So, Mike, can I just ask Sally, I know we were looking at the Corn Exchange as a contingency meeting place, and will that be affected in any way?
If it was needed to be used as an emergency centre, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it was needed as an emergency centre, it's listed as an emergency centre in the emergency plan for both Farringdon and for Oxfordshire. So it will still be that, and we would just cancel any hirers.
Okay, thank you.
Right, do you need a proposal for that one as well?
Yeah, if members agree that the 15th for the Corn Exchange is
So
please.
I'll propose that we reopen venues with again with those conditions that Sally stipulated. And a seconder, please.
Happy to second.
Thank you.
So Mike, that's just the Corn Exchange.
Yes, just the Corn Exchange. Right, can we have a show of hands then for those in favour? Is anybody against? Okay, I'll take that as it's NEMCON, that we reopen venues accordingly. Item C then, to consider options to make the town centre safer.
Sorry, can we just talk about the Old Town Hall and the Pump House as well? If I just go through the recommendations for those. So the Pump House is currently being used, the room that we hire out is currently being used as a as the food bank. So I'm proposing that we review the opening of the Pump House on the 9th of September, our next meeting.
Yeah.
And the Old Town Hall is too small to put a one-way system in place. And it's also only £8 an hour, and to deep clean that between hirers isn't viable at the moment. So I'm suggesting that we review that again on the 9th of September when we re-meet.
Yeah. So is everybody happy with that one? Thank you. Anybody not? Thank you. And I presume with the Old Town Hall, of course, the alterations will take place. Are they taking place now, or is that?
No, they're not taking place yet. We're out to tender at the moment, and then we need to get grants.
So that might be another delay, in fact, on the Old Town Hall. Item C then, to consider options to make the town centre safer. I think you've made a list of these, haven't you, Sally, with respect to things that we can do to help make town centre safer and to get people back into the town centre shopping. Do you want to go through them?
Form as well via.
You're dropping out, Sally. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
No.
I'm sorry, my internet connection today for some reason is playing up. I've got gas men out the front. I think they must have done something. But yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, good. So so I circulated that the sheet that we sent to Oxfordshire County Council for members to, and most people were in favour of those recommended measures. So we forwarded those through to County Council in the hope that they will put them forward for a second tranche of funding that they are looking for to make the streets safer.
So this is really concerned with pavements and parking, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Trying to make the pavements wider, putting extra barriers in place. Yeah, absolutely. Trying
to restrict some of the space, make more space available at the bottom of London Street so that people would be parking there. I think another suggestion we said was trying to make the pavements one way, so you could be up one way and down the other, which might help. And do you want to say something about, I mean, there were proposals about closing off the marketplace to traffic, which I think is a bit more controversial. Just might mention the fact that we're going to look at what a proposal's been done for, sorry, what's been done in Cirencester on Friday morning. But I think there are problems with the town centre, and that we haven't got really robust alternative routes like most other towns have that can avoid the town centre, because it's the main road to Radgate. Cycling, was that all part of this as well, Sarah?
It was, yeah. So I circulated a paper from Stewart earlier today. I did email that, so everyone should have that on their emails.
Well, I think there was a problem with the county council, wasn't there, in not getting the funding that they asked for. And there was a bit of disappointment by the cycling community, particularly with respect to Park Road.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah, I think there was 2 tranches of funding, and I think that they needed to put extra measures forward to enable social distancing. But I think the county council put some more maintenance works forward, and so they didn't get the required amount. But they are going for the second tranche of funding, which hopefully will be more substantial.
Okay. What action do we need to take on that?
We just need to formally agree those measures that we've put forward, because although they were voted for, I think there were a couple of people against the closure of the marketplace, although the majority were in favour of restricting traffic in the marketplace. But we need a formal resolution for that, please. Okay.
So how do you want to take this? Do you want to... This is a problem, isn't it? You need to go through each one in turn if we're going to have people objecting to the marketplace closure.
I think if anyone's got any objections to that one point, they can say that they would like it removed.
Yeah, I'd like it removed because I think it's really not viable as far as the access to Radcott and places to the north. Of course, we haven't got an alternative road system that's sufficiently robust to allow it. So unlike other towns, and you know, we're a crossroads. So I do object to that very strongly. But the rest of it, I'm very happy with.
Can I just clarify that this is for a trial period only?
Yeah, it's a temporary measure to enable social distancing in the town centre, and it will need obviously to go through County Council and Highways as well. So this is just a suggested paper.
I must admit, I actually agree with Mike. I went into the butchers recently and mentioned this, and they were sort of aghast that we were thinking of closing the town centre. So I'm with Mike on this one.
Yeah, sorry, Sally, can I just interrupt? I've had my hand up whilst Mike was talking to come in, but obviously we're not using the hand system anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, sorry, we haven't got three of us here. So Joe's taking the minutes and Marcia isn't here spotting hands. So that's my fault, Angela. I hadn't spotted that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I just, yeah, I'm objecting to that. And I think everybody saw the email that I responded. Now, if I'm the only one, and I'm just going back to what I said, what I was going to say when I had my hand up to come on first, is that I'm more than happy to have, if I was going to be the only objector, I was more than happy to have that reflected in the minutes, because I do feel very strongly against it. And as I said, which obviously if Kira had read my email, it would have said we've had instances before when things have come in on a temporary basis, and then before you know it, they're permanent. I've had a few people speak to me as well as a councillor that said they wouldn't be very happy with having the marketplace closed due to the access routes from one side of town to the other, and the perceived picture that actually Fountain Town Council is not actually trying to support local businesses. Thank you.
Mike Stevens got his hand up too.
Yeah, Stephen.
Yeah, Mike, it was just a follow-up from the point that Kira made, that if we do this, just to ask what we're talking about in terms of the end of a trial period, i.e. how long is this going to be?
So I think that's the point I also raised, Stephen, but obviously you must have missed that.
Sorry, Angela, yeah, I think I did, yeah.
I don't know, Steve.
I would estimate that the temporary measures would go on while social distancing guidelines were in place.
Yeah.
Mike, Liz has got a question.
Yes, I can see that, Liz.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks, Charlie.
Liz, you're muted. Liz.
Right, sorry. Okay, I was just thinking, can we just make it Saturdays? If we think it's too much all the time, can we just reduce it to one day, like when it's the main shopping day, when everyone might want to come to the market? Can we just make it in lesser time on all the time?
See, can I reply for us? We just went out the other day and we came past the Swan at Radcott on Sunday, and it was absolutely heaving. And you think, well, how would people actually get there alternatively? And we have got the problem with the farms as well. So agricultural vehicles will still need that access this side of Bradcote. And the trouble is the alternative roads, I mean, Coach Lane and Swan Lane just aren't adequate for vehicles larger than a car. And even then you couldn't get two cars past each other on Coach Lane. I mean, that's my principal worry. If we had an alternative road system, I would support it, but we haven't got it. We haven't got a ring road like Wantage, or more roads like Abingdon. We was just too small. And even using Ferndale Street and the problem at the end of Ferndale Street and Stanford Road chicane, there it's trying to get people to go to Witney. I can remember when I was marshalling outside the Corn Exchange for festive Farringdon at Christmas and trying to direct people to, from there want to get to Witney. It's a long list of left, right, left, right, left, right to get there. It's very, very difficult. Who else? Angela, there's one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so Councillor Finn. I just really want to know as well is how are we going to police this?
Well, that's a good point, isn't it? Because we couldn't police it, and the police couldn't police it either, I don't think.
If we're letting, obviously, and it's not just delivery trucks, it's also emergency services as well. So who's going to stop people driving through?
And you're going to need a whole load of signage going back to Lechlade, telling people, not to come this way, because that's the obvious way if you're coming that direction. If you want to go to Witney, you've got to have major options fairly soon. Not venture up the A417.
Okay. My other thought is then, can we just dramatically reduce the speed limit to 10 miles an hour?
I think that's a good idea. I'm quite happy with the speed limit, but yeah. Rosalind.
Because I think that's because we want to make it safe, and then we want to make it sort of environmentally friendly for people to have, clean air and stuff. Making people go slower is the only option, and that will make people think twice about whether they want to make that journey. Because if they have to do 10 miles an hour, they might decide to go somewhere a different way if they can. So that might be the best solution, just to slow the traffic down completely.
Yeah, just remember, it is the main road between Bicester and Farringdon, and if you want to get to Carterton, and a lot of people work at Bryce Norton and Whitby, that direction. Rosalind.
I did think that the one-way system around London Street, Coach Lane and Swan Lane was a really good idea, especially as you say, it's so narrow in Swan Lane and Coach Lane, and that would then access Radcosh and Witney and so on. I mean, I can see it would be quite a palaver to do it, but I do think that was worth investigating.
It depends what the county council would say in terms of safety. I mean, it's probably negotiable by a car, but if you get a larger van, which is quite able to go across Radcote bridges, you might find it very difficult coming out of the exit from Swan Lane into London Street if that isn't made one way.
But as you say, they shouldn't be going over Radcote Bridge because it is too narrow.
If you've got a van, and there's a lot of builders, a lot of tradesmen and delivery vehicles wanting to go that way.
And they break the bridge.
Pardon? They're only a lot. They're not heavy goods vehicles, are they? They're quite permissible to go over. They're not 7-ton lorries, and anything that's long that's not allowed to go across Radcote bridges.
But they could go one way along Swan Lane and Coach Lane. But at the moment, I mean, Swan Lane is two-way, which is ridiculous because cars park all up.
But it's a very tough
and even London Street now, where cars are parked either side of the road, really would benefit from being a one-way system. It would be much safer.
I still object to it. Right. So what do we do, Sally? Hello, Sally, you're frozen. Sally, can you hear me? You're frozen, Sally. It's very, very poor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Turning off her camera.
Can I say before you come back, Sally, I think this would be the county council would have to make a decision on whether you could make this diversion.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and it's going to be an awful lot of work, and in terms of signposting, that's going to cost a lot of money to do as well for alternative routes.
Yeah, so it would be a town responsibility, not a town council responsibility. That would just be the town council putting the suggestion forward.
Peter, you're muted, Peter.
No, I'm muted. I would suggest we just vote on it. I'm like you. I'm against that particular issue. I'm not against any of the others, but that one, I think. I'm 10 miles an hour, no problem. But closing it completely, I agree with you about the structure of Farringdon. It doesn't really support that, I don't think. But it's a simple vote now. Whether I think we should vote on that one specifically, and then the document completely.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with that. Can we do that, Sally?
We can, yes. Jane has raised her hand.
Yes, Jane has raised her hand.
Jane?
This is just a temporary
Jane?
measure at the moment. Because I have a proposal to bring up at another meeting when all this pandemic thing's over. And this is not the time to do it.
Yes, I think it would have to be a temporary
If this
measure.
is just temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I agree with Mike.
Kira?
Yeah, I don't feel we have enough information from the public with regard to consultation, because who is driving this and why is how we would be accountable. And my feeling is it is an opportunity and it is a chance to look at it properly, but we ought to be collecting some information about traffic flow at the moment before we close it. And I don't feel we've got enough information to be confident we make the right decision to change it. And I hear what everybody says about temporary might not be temporary, but we can say that about anything. And this is the opportunity to try. But I also accept that if we are going to look at the impact of the town centre, it's not just the people in the town centre that are affected, good or bad. And I'm not comfortable with that we've got enough information from the public to see what they think.
Thank you, Kira. I did ask some shopkeepers the same, and everybody was very much against it because they could see a lot of business going. James?
But they'd also be against parking or stopping parking.
James, I mean,
It's
how would
speculative,
it
isn't it?
affect you, James? Because a lot of people do drop off outside the pharmacy, don't they, to pick up prescriptions. James, you're muted. Thank you.
Yes, I really am a bit constrained to support that proposal. I don't think it's a good idea at the moment until we investigate properly. It will probably slightly affect me and other people over there. Yeah. I think we need to look at it more elaborately and look at it, get further information as to how it's from all the businesses, from wider public, and let us investigate it properly before we go into that. To me, I will opt out. I really will not buy the idea at the moment.
Thank you, James.
So, and can I just go back, sorry, to the email that I sent out to everybody to say that by doing something like that, we should have a public consultation. I'm quite astonished now. Some people are saying, "Oh, well, we've got to talk about, what the townspeople want." I raised that about 3 weeks ago, and I think it was copied to all councillors, and I do feel that it got quite easily dismissed, all apart from Mike. And thank you very much for supporting that, Mike, because I think yes, you can argue what is a temporary measure. Well, you can actually argue what is the definition of temporary. And considering nobody knows about COVID, we could be in temporary measures for the next 2 years. we could have a rolling programme of temporary measures. So I think, which could also have a negative impact on the town. It might also have a positive, but we don't know. And I think, for doing something as drastic as that, we do need to have a proper consultation with the townspeople. After all, we're here to serve the townspeople. And also, I think we need to listen to them. And for something that's a major change, they should be involved in it. We involved them in about chairs and about benches for the town centre. And I'm sure, well, a couple of people have actually said to me that they would have preferred to actually have more input into bigger, more strategic decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Liz?
The only thing I could think that makes sense, and I agree again with consultation with the public, but I just think slowing the traffic down and also just putting more crossings in so that makes the cars stop and people can just cross freely without having to wait for the traffic. It should be the other way round. It should be the pedestrians given way to. So if there's lots of people in town, it gives the flow and the distancing enabled rather than us standing waiting for the traffic to go through. It should all be slowed down and we should have right of way. That's my thought.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
Crossings is you have to be a formal crossing place. I mean, people tend to use the brick paths that were put in as the crossing places, but I think to actually get formal crossing places where traffic would have to stop would have to be another investigation through the county council to have proper zebra crossings. I don't know how you can do an informal crossing without that sort of infrastructure. But I agree with you. It really pedestrians should have priority. Angela, are you still?
Yeah, I just wanted a final thing as well. Is that it's all right putting in these temporary measures, but who's going to take them out? Is that still down to the county council? Or if they pass it over and pass the responsibility of removing a temporary measure, if it doesn't work, is that then down to us? I don't know the answer, but I think it's well worth asking the question.
I think all of it would be county council because they're responsible for the highways, aren't they? So we could ask a question, but they would have to make a decision. I've got one other after Angela. Is that you, Kira?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, bearing in mind that we were having a discussion about taking the speed limit down to 20, and that was going to cost us quite a lot in terms of research and signage and things like that. Oh, can we not now use this opportunity to grab that nettle and get the county council to fund that instead?
Well, I think they could actually put this in and we could do it surreptitiously to actually try the experiment, couldn't we? That's what they're asking. This is what we could ask for. Jane. Jane?
Yeah?
You got your hand up?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So I think generally we're in favour of everything. The other measures, I think they're non-controversial, which we could put forward. Yes, everybody's happy with those. No one's dissatisfied with the other measures. Yeah, but with respect to closing off the town centre or restricting traffic through the town centre, I think that's another issue. So what do we want to do? I agree with Angela that I think we need to ask consultation, because certainly the idea is to try and get more people to shop in Farringdon. And if it's a disincentive and if people avoid Farringdon because they realise it's a bottleneck and they can't get through it, it's going to be counterproductive. So do we want a consultation on this, or do we propose it to the county council, or do we reject it? Peter. You're muted, Peter.
No. I propose we reject this one.
Can I propose some sort of consultation that we should just discuss it before we outright reject it, just so that we can think about it a bit more, get more input?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, at least, we can get people to take part and see what the general response is. James, you're muted, James. James, unmute, James.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, sorry. I think I will support Liz on this one. I think let's have a proper consultation. If we find out nothing, then we can dismiss it. If we find something, we can also find out some other information as well, which we are not aware of before. I think so.
Stephen?
Yeah, I'd support what Liz and James are saying. I don't think I understand what Peter's saying and why, but I don't think we should reject it outright. You know, if we're going to consult people, then let's give them some options and see what they've got to say.
I also think it needs to look, you know, the county council needs to give us some views on viability of the alternative routes. Because it would really worry me if I didn't know the town coming down Swan Lane from the right direction and thinking, where am I going? You know, the road suddenly turned into a car park basically, and where do I go from here? Still, so we agree we need a consultation. James, you want to make another comment?
Oh, no, not really. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, what's the general consensus on consultation? Everybody happy with this, or? Yeah.
Shall we vote?
Want to vote? Okay, with all those in favour of a consultation, yeah?
Yeah.
Is anybody not in favour of a consultation? No, right, so we're all in favour of consultation before we proceed with that one. That's okay, Sally?
Yeah, that's fine. So just to be clear for the minutes, then we will put the whole document forward, removing the restrictions in the marketplace, but we will take the marketplace restrictions to public consultation.
Yeah, now I think I'd also ask the county council's advice on, is this feasible? Because if it isn't feasible, then there's no point in having a consultation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on then. 14D, consider providing tables in the town centre.
Sorry, Mike, can you just go back to the bicycle racks on 14C, please?
Okay. Bicycle racks.
So I circulated a paper saying where the county council were proposing to put the bicycle racks. I did a walk around town with a county council officer, and the cycling group informed those positions. And I circulated the paper, and we just need a formal resolution that you're happy with the locations that I put forward.
Yeah. Anybody not happy with those locations? No, that sounds as though everybody's happy with those.
Thank you.
Tables then, in the town centre.
So we've been approached by a cafe to put tables out in the town centre, and I obviously circulated that via email, and everyone was in favour of that. The problem we've got is that once I did the risk assessment, we can't implement hygiene routines for those tables, which is required for tables during the COVID pandemic. So my recommended action for this one is that we approach establishment owners and we offer to put some of our trestle tables outside their establishments, but they take the responsibility for the hygiene routines and the track and trace recording where necessary.
Yeah, I think there were quite a few people sitting outside on Tuesday at the market. So, yeah, everybody happy with that? Mm-hmm. That sounds very sensible. Anybody not happy with that? Rosalind. Rosalind, you got your hand up.
I put it up when you said, are you happy with that?
Oh, okay, thank you.
And then you changed your tune, so I'm sorry.
So I can't see you, Rosalind, so thank you. Then E, to consider council meeting schedule.
So my proposal, my recommended action here is to return to a normal meeting schedule with immediate effect, but to continue with online meetings as per guidance from NALC and the government.
Yep. Is everybody happy with that? I think that's sensible. These meetings seem to work fine. Thank you. And
no, James put his hand up.
I think James is in favour. Yes.
Okay.
F, to consider street stenciling offer from the Vale. which we had on the original list, and this is to put social distancing signs in the town centres. Everybody happy with that one?
Yeah. Haven't they started doing it already?
So yes, they've done them on their land, Liz. So they've done them in the car parks, but they've asked if we would like them in the town centre and on the pavements.
Yeah. Fair enough. I think that's again, if they want to do that. Will they ever wear off? Oh, they'll be there forever. Okay. Everything done well on 14 then?
I think yes.
Okay, so let's move on to 15, which is items for information only.
So in terms of items for information only, I circulated some virtual gardens correspondence, just some thank yous to Adele really, and how successful the virtual garden project was. So I just wanted to note that for your information.
Yeah. I think she did a wonderful job there. I mean, they're putting all those pictures together. I mean, it must have taken ages, but I've had people commenting to me saying, well, what a wonderful display it was. So well done, Adele.
Angela's got her hand up.
Angela.
No, I just seconded that.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done to Adele.
Thank you. And secondly, I just wanted to highlight the town council staff. I know Judy did it earlier, but it's been a really stressful time, and coming back to work after the pandemic, and the town council staff have been running the food bank throughout the pandemic. They've been having to comply with some really complicated guidelines, and I just wanted to highlight that to you, and just highlight what a great job everybody's done. They've also completed some fantastic projects during lockdown. From the Corn Exchange has been completely redecorated, right through to new leaflets for walks and things, and they've been very industrious and a real credit to the town. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Yes, thanks very much. I think they've done a wonderful job.
And Peter's got his hand up, Mike.
Yes, Peter.
Yeah, I think I agree with you entirely, but just saying thanks really doesn't cut the mustard. I think we need to make some tangible thank yous. Now, I don't know how to do that. Box of chocolates, bunch of flowers, don't know. But it would be nice to make a tangible thank you to the town council staff. I'll leave it open as that.
Thank you. Let's think about that one.
Thank you. I can pass on your thanks though, which will be appreciated.
Anything else in items for information?
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that the cricket club net is complete. I don't know how many of you were aware of the project, but I've worked closely with the cricket club to get them some S106 funding, and it's been a long and rocky road, but they finally got their nets up. Joe helped them with their planning permission, so the town council has really assisted in that, and they've sent us a thank you for the help, and they would like to do an official opening on Saturday, and they've invited Mike to open the net. So just wanted you to be aware that had happened.
Have we got a time yet for that?
No, I'll as soon as we've got a time, I'll let you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody be welcome to attend as well. So yeah, well done. Looking forward to that. Anything else?
That's all I've got for now.
Anybody else got any other items for information? James?
I just want to remind, maybe I don't know whether Sally has passed the information. I was supposed to celebrate my 50th birthday this year, so I've pushed it to 26th of June, Saturday next year, in the same venue. At least you have no excuse to say you're not coming now.
Right.
So I want to invite all of you, please.
Yeah, let's hope we can all turn up this time. Yeah.
Yeah, we hope we're all still alive and we are still on the ground, not on the ground. So I'm still inviting you, please. 26th of.
And many happy returns, James.
Yeah, thank you.
Kira's got her hand up, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really just, I know we were talking at the beginning of the lockdown about having some kind of post-COVID thank you parade or celebration, and we decided to leave it until we might know when that was, and now there's a staggered sort of get back to normal, and we don't know if there's a second round. But I do think we perhaps ought to think about, you know, thanking some eminent people, and the town have strived hard. I think the community has come together well to get, you know, to cope with all this, and some kind of acknowledgement or celebration does feel too early yet, but I think as a council we ought to be thinking about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's early days yet. When we think about it. Let's watch this space. Any other comments then on information only? Thank you. So that brings us to the end of that part of the meeting, and then we're on to planning applications. Jane, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, there we go. P18B02590, land south of Steve's Farm. Has everybody read the amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So, what do we all think about it?
I think Mike gave a very good reply, very comprehensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chair, I am absolutely appalled by all of this. This is a completely unnecessary development, as I tried to explain in that long paper I put together. That this is a complete history of cynicism by this developer in initially wanting to occupy the whole space, shoehorning it all up into one end. The Vale then making that an allocated site, giving them permission for 200 houses, which has completed it. And then they're coming back and saying, oh, but of course it was for around 200 houses. But by no stretch of the imagination, and being a scientist, you could say, well, let's take an error factor on 200, which would be at plus or minus 14. It is not 325. Yet the Vale seem to be going along with this, which depresses me, because there's the thing that is hidden is, of course, the S106 contribution required for the signalisation of the junction between Coxwell Road and the A420, which for some unknown reason does need exposing as to why there wasn't sufficient S106 money available for that in the first place. But the first paper that we looked, the first time we did this, and the report I made, what they were talking about a deficit, I can't remember how much it was, 200 million or so, a loss of 4,170,000, unless they reduce the number of houses. It seems that the number of affordable houses has been reduced by agreement with the Vale. Now, why? Because there's a definite shortage of affordable housing, and the only S106 we're going to get out of this would be 2,200 for improvements to the pump house project. And I put that little article about the item that the Nortoft rose, or the Vale Leisure, saying that there'd be no leisure contribution because the site is not financially viable. If it's not financially viable, don't build it, because you're going to build things to loss. Yet they are paying themselves an awful lot of money. They want a 16% profit margin, which, if anybody looks at Homes Under the Hammer, I would have thought is quite generous. So again, anything from this development in terms of leisure facilities would mean that the Vale residents would be subsidising the residents of that for the use of it. And at last I see the CCG and the Whitehorse medical practice have woken up, and they're putting in objections to this because they're overloaded, and they're saying the S106 contribution is only a tenth of what is required. Finally, what Thames Water is saying, we're back to square one effectively with connections to the sewerage, and they can't provide sufficient water. So why do they want to build this? When I went to the public consultation, I've never known such vehemence by the people there. No one was in support of this. It's completely unwanted, and it's going to just add more people to Farringdon and no benefit whatsoever. And I think there's some excellent comments by people in Great Coxwell as to what they think about it. It is not part of the local plan part 1. The allocation there was for 200 dwellings, and it isn't mentioned subsequently. So, and it isn't part of the Oxford unmet housing needs. So I can't see how the Vale can actually justify it. They don't need to. They've got 5.1 years of housing land. In fact, they're down to 3 years, as I put in that quote from with respect to the growth board. So they can reject it if they want to.
Right.
Can't stop.
Yeah, Mike, I totally agree with you. Can I move that we object to this totally?
I'll second that.
Right. I suggested to Marcia earlier on today that we put forward to just say that we still have the same objections that we've had in the last, I think it's 7 objections we've made to this so far, and we object to it again, including the fact that it has to provide contributions, S106 contributions to the town, and if they can't, then it shouldn't be built.
Yeah, great.
Can we strongly object, not just object?
Oh yes.
I think Mike's point about it not falling, not being compliant with our neighbourhood plan now, because it is under Great Farringdon Parish, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not part of the local plan either, Kira. So I think, I mean, it isn't part of their housing allocation or anything. So they're going against their own local plan again.
One thing that does worry me is that one of the recent government things of stopping the need for planning permission, which means they might come out, if the government did that, they'll build it anyway because they won't need permission to do so.
Well, that's a problem. It
It's
could
another discussion we have to have at another meeting.
Well, you see, this would open the door for Rogers Concrete and also for that proposed Taylor Wimpey development along the A420 between Fernham Road and Rogers Concrete for, what was it, at the end, about 70 houses. You know, it's very worrying.
Can we throw in that we've declared climate emergency, so we don't need these extra housing because we've already got our quota, and unless they can be fully self-sufficient environmentally, then they're absolutely not welcome.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
The trouble is they'll argue that they're building to regulations, and of course regulations are very poor and it's not even controlled anyway. But I think the fact it's against the local plan, but there's this undercurrent in the Vale where it seems that the officers are going along with this. I mean, why they haven't told them, no, you can't do it right from the very beginning is worrying.
Can I suggest we vote, Mike?
Do we need to vote? Is anybody?
Can I propose that we strongly object, that we reiterate our previous objections, and we add to our objections the fact that they have to provide S106 money. If not, then they shouldn't be built. Does everybody agree?
Angela's got her hand up, Jane.
No,
Oh,
I was
sorry.
saying that I think we should absolutely object to this based on all my colleagues and what they've just said, and basically, say no.
Right. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second.
Yes, please.
Does everybody agree?
Second it.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. P20B1121HH, the Pines, Farringdon. Has everybody looked at this?
Yeah.
Yes, Chair. The only thing I could see what the difference between the previous application and this one is I think they've just changed the roof slightly and made instead of being one pitch, they've actually put a gable into it. It's very
it looks
hard.
odd. I thought it looked odd.
I
But I
think
can't
there's
see
a-
anything wrong with it.
I think, Chair, there's a problem again with these things from the Vale. Is what's the difference? We get another planning amendment, and you say, well, what is the difference between the first one and the second one? And that's all I could see. And I know there was a neighbour at 28 Pines worried about water runoff because it's quite steep there, and of course, if they've got any hard surfacing, they're worried about runoff into their garden. But I think it's a minor change.
What do everybody else think?
I think no objections on let
I
the
can't see.
bail officers pick that one up, Chair.
Yeah, okay. Right. I don't think we can comment on the Old Town because we're applying for it. So
I was
we'll
thinking
go
of
to-
objecting to that.
not allowed to comment. Right, P20B 00134. The old Carter's building. Mike had something to say about that.
Yes, Chair. I noticed in the initial application there was a letter to the developer saying that it was going to be liable for SIL, and now they've had a note saying that it isn't. And the only reasons for not paying SIL is either that it's a self-build or that the floor area is equal to or less than the original development, which considering they've got, I don't know how many flats on there, seems very strange. So they're not going to get away with any SIL contribution, although the County Council had noted that there ought to be an S106, and they asked the same question. The other thing is about the entry. The County Council Highways have put a holding objection to the access, and they did produce a drawing of a car sweeping in and one coming out of that parking space. Access to the, and actually you could have a head-on collision, and they're talking about site displays, but it seems extraordinarily tight. And they're saying, well, of course it'll never happen. There'll never be a car coming out when there's one coming in. Well, really? So I think that the County Council's put a holding objection onto that one, but they seem to have changed the layout because Blessed Hugh were objecting, the Catholic Church, that it was going to block out their light, but they've done something about that. And also to notice that Costa seems to be moving to one of the new central units, whereas previously they said it was going to stay where it was. So my principal concern is that the safety in entry and egress from that little estate now, and I'd like the question answered as to why they're not paying SIL.
I think all we could do is make those comments and leave it up to the officers.
Can I
of the
make another
bail.
comment, Chair? But you know, you didn't like the brickwork. It seems that is not been changed.
Ah, right. No, I don't. I don't think it goes with the town. It does. It's not in keeping with the town. Eh?
Is that Sally?
Either Sally or a Dalek.
I like that can be me or a Dalek.
Sally, put your comment in chat.
I like that can be me or a dog.
Hello, is anybody there?
I think we've lost Sally, Chair.
Certainly lost me.
Can I suggest, Chair, that we do
Can
exactly?
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can now. So,
You're going to have to get a better connection, Sally. You know that.
I don't know what's going on. Sorry about that. Living out in the wilds of nowhere, I think.
Yeah.
right, you were saying, Sally.
So for the minutes, yes. So I may have missed it when I dipped out there for a moment, but for the minutes on this one, Are we objecting or not?
The thing is, it's not a proposal, is it? It's just a revision of the ecology and the FRA. Sorry, I've lost my acronyms now. I think we ought to make these points about the
FRA.
Yeah, about the changes that we've seen since the last application about SIL and the safety aspect about the entry and exit, because it does look very tight.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we can. Are we making those points with an objection?
I don't know whether we can make an
Or are
objection.
we-
I think it's a query about SIL.
I think just make the points.
Yeah, we need, why?
Yeah.
Again, it's what changes have been agreed with the Vale. I mean, we don't get this information back, do we, with regards to changes that are made? We have to go hunting through the documents to find out what's different.
If we're not sure about something, can we just object on the grounds of safety? Then they have to prove that it's safe.
Yeah, because the county council have raised a holding objection, so I don't see why we shouldn't.
We should do that then.
Yeah.
So, who's going to propose that?
I propose it.
Or seconded.
Well,
Okay. Do we all agree?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Last one. P20B 0513HH,
Thank
13
you.
Chestnut Avenue, which we've objected to before.
Excuse me.
They've made a minor difference of pulling it back 4.5 bricks, but the objections are it still looks like they're terracing it.
I think there was they're complaining that other houses on Chestnut Avenue have done something similar, and why couldn't they do that? But it's one for the Vale to decide, isn't it, in terms of
I think so, yeah.
what's permitted.
So for the minutes, are we upholding our objection?
Yes, I think we're, because they haven't really made any substantial differences. They've changed a few names and bits, but not really made any real difference to the last application. We objected to the last application. I don't think we can really change our minds or minor alterations.
I agree.
Okay? We all agree?
Yep.
Good. Thank you. Pass you back.
Thank you. So on to item 17 then, which is Sam Sill to receive and note the street names. Just for your information, they called after Luckett, was Reginald Walter Frank Luckett, who was a Japanese prisoner of war who died under terrible circumstances. And if you've got the stomach for it, you want to read the account I put on. It's on the website now, and it's on our site as well, about how these people were treated. They were evacuated from Java back to Japan, and an awful lot of them died of starvation or disease on the way back. And unfortunately, Luckett died on the day the boat docked. Chapman is a driver, and he was killed coming back to Dunkirk. That's Raymond Chapman. And Jackson again was a Dunkirk casualty, a Royal Berkshire Regiment. Raymond Chapman was a Royal Army Service Corps. He was 32, 27th of May, killed. Charles Jackson was 35, killed on the 25th of May. And Gilbert Henry Whiting, he was another Royal Berkshire Regiment, killed 27th of May, defending Dunkirk. But there's also another Whiting, a driver, Percy John Whiting, who was in the Horse Transport and Supply Royal Army Service Corps, probably a relation, I don't know, but there were two Whitings, and he was a casualty in the First World War, 27, on the 3rd of December 1918, which suggests that he was one that might have died of Spanish flu. Don't know the details, but there's two Whitings. And Proctor, we've had Major Percy Proctor, who was the brother of Private James Proctor. Private James was killed as a member of the Berkshire Yeomanry, and he was killed in Greece. There was a war between Greece and Bulgaria, which the Bulgarians gave the Allies a trouncing. And his brother, Major Percy Proctor, was in the 1st Punjab Regiment in the Indian Army, and he was killed in 1941 in the Middle East. He was buried in Khartoum. So 2 Proctor brothers, and finally George Stepp, that's Vinnie's great uncle, who was in the 8th Battalion King's Own Royal Lancaster Regiment, who died aged 22 on the 25th of April 1918, right at the end of the war. And but, it's very sad, but I'm very pleased for Vinnie that we can commemorate his uncle. So I'm very pleased that we've got those names as the first tranche of housing for Sands Hill. All very well deserved. So can we note those names? Can we approve them? Thank you very much. And I think that brings us to the end of the meeting. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
See you all
Thank you,
again.
everybody. Hope we can meet personally next time, because I hate this.
Thank you. We'll meet again soon.
Well, presumably we don't have a meeting in August, do we? We can have August off, unless something planning still carries on. But I think Town Council doesn't normally meet in August. So happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
In
Thank you,
lockdown.
Mike.
Bye.
Bye.
Want to see those gardens shining? Come on.
Thank you.